Hi everyone, my name is Vanessa Valuco, and welcome to Personal Pans, conversations about belief, transformation, and all the weird and wonderful things that we experience. Today's episode is with my friend Star, and it's a delight, mostly because I was really happy to see Star. We used to work together, and it was always so wonderful when they would come in because we would just spend the entire shift talking about tarot and crystals and all sorts of other witchy things, and I miss doing that on a regular basis. Star was kind enough to talk to me about their experiences with Loki and with Aphrodite. We also talked about trauma because I don't think I'm capable of having a conversation without bringing up trauma at least once. Like I said, this was a wonderful episode, and I hope you enjoy it.
How have you been? Have you done any cool magical things lately?
Um, yeah, I part of the reason it said yes is because they were like, "Oh my God, please do this." I work with Loki and I work with Aphrodite now.
Oh my God, amazing.
So I was like, "Yeah, I'm gonna do this podcast." And they're like, "Fuck, finally, like do something, please." I'm like, "Cool,
Of
thank
course.
you."
Yes.
Which is really funny because like I come from a background of Catholicism. So
Mhm.
it's really like, yeah, your authority figure is there and they're always watching you. Kind of like
Right.
Santa does. Sees you when you're sleeping, knows when you're awake, knows when you've done bad or good. Only difference is kind of like, Krampus. If you do something stupid, I will smite you. And I'm like, oh God, that fucking terrifies me.
Of
So
course.
before I started working with like both Loki and Aphrodite, I was just like, I don't want to. And I just like I confirmed it was first Loki. I confirmed it was them because I use they them pronouns with Loki.
Yeah.
And it's like, man, I'm just so terrified. And they're like, why? I'm like, well, because like I've got all this religious trauma and I feel like if I do something wrong, like you'll be upset at me and then I'll get like hurt and all this, stuff. And the response was, ugh. And I'm like, oh, okay. And literally, and I was just like, all right. And then I went
Oh,
and researched and everything else, and it was just like, deities don't do that.
that's it.
Really don't do that. I mean, unless you're like truly disrespectful, which like I cannot do that. There's like no part in my body which like to do that.
Yes.
So I was just like, all right, let's do this. And
Amazing.
I started working with them and it's so nice. I've never had more like sweets on my altar than I do like working with them.
Of course. Yes.
So it's a ride. It's really funny.
I love it. I love it. It's so funny you mentioned that because when I had this like transformative trip to the Pacific Northwest that ended with me
Mm,
like quitting and planning on moving, I
mm.
there were all these crows, just crows everywhere, crows everywhere. And I ended up leaving a little offering to Loki in
Oh,
my cousin's backyard. Like I was like, okay, apple, I can't even, I think it was just like apple and some pumpkin seeds. It was like, okay, here we go. Cause I know the crows will eat this
uh-huh.
and like animals will not die from this. Here you go into the yard. So that's amazing.
Oh, that's
That's
good. Yeah,
good.
that was mine. I was like, God.
Of course. Well, and it's hard too because like again, when you grow up with religious trauma and you're just expecting something to punish you all the time,
Hmm.
there's that fear, I think, of starting something new, of developing a new relationship with a deity, with a spirit. Like, okay, I don't want to upset them. They're going to bring down smite and evil on me. It's like,
Yeah.
no, I might get a little
My,
slap upside the head as a lesson, but that's really all that happens.
that and my other thing is just like I'm so used to having one-sided conversations
Mm-hmm.
in which like, hey, can I have some help? And it's just silence. And
Yeah.
there's nothing there. And I'm like, okay, so I truly am alone in this world. And then
Yes.
I'll ask them for help or I'll ask like my team and they're like, all right, well, what did you do wrong? And like we'll sit down and we'll talk about it. I'm like, okay. Or like I'll ask like I'm like, hey, I need some help. He's like, what'd you do now? And I'm like, I didn't do anything, but like I would like help. Like I
Exactly.
didn't cause issues. He's like, well, maybe you should cause issues. And I'm like, I kind of don't want to, please. It's kind of like that. It's Oh my God. I think we have the most fun on TikTok because it's these audios that are just so wild that he's like, I like that one. You should
Yes.
do that. And I'm like, Jesus, please come on now.
Yeah, exactly. This is too much.
But
But then,
it's really nice.
yeah, of
Plus it's
course.
nice. I mean, like my roommate too is a former Catholic student. So like we both understand like there's trauma there.
Yeah.
But he doesn't follow the practice that I do, but is 100% supportive in it. So whenever I have to go get stuff, and I'm like, hey, can I buy this? And they're like, yeah, it's your money. Like, I don't understand. He's like,
Mhm.
why do you need it? I'm like, um, witchcraft. And he's like, yeah, dude, I don't care. Go ahead. And I'm like, okay. He's like, I don't have a problem with you practicing. Like, stop asking me. And I'm like,
Aw,
okay.
of
I'm like,
course.
that's all of this. Like, that's what's great about practicing is because like you can see what's traumatized you and then like fix that.
Absolutely. Yeah, you get to work
Mhm.
through it, and you get to work through it with more I don't want to say like gentler, but like more understanding kind of
Mhm.
energies, right? Like, okay, we get it. You've been severely traumatized. It's going to be
Mhm.
okay. Just buy these things, just do these things, and
Right.
you'll be all right. Yeah.
Hi, Grunty.
Oh, yes.
This is Mochi.
Yes. Mochi. Grunting and purring, and oh my God, this is perfect.
Yeah, she for some reason she doesn't meow all the time. She grunts.
That's so funny. You
Yeah,
know?
but she was my roommate's uncle's girlfriend's cat, and then she developed an allergy to
Oh,
her. So we adopted her,
yes.
and she lived with dogs. So I think that's kind of why she
Oh,
grunts.
sure.
She's just a little weird. Also, she's from Indiana. And
Okay.
so when we brought her over here, she ended up living because they had like um a house fire.
Oh
So
my gosh.
she ended up like getting scared and living on the street for about 3 weeks.
Oh, poor
And then she came
baby.
back. So she's good, but she's just
Yeah.
like embedded into that like trash cat mentality.
Of course.
She eats bread. Like the first time like around the first week that we got her acclimated to the house, we had pizza and I was with my roommate and I came out and she's eating the pizza. She's eating a whole ass pizza. Like she opened the box, she took out a slice and started eating. I'm like, what the hell? My roommate comes running out. He's like, what? I'm like, she's eating pizza. He texts his uncle. He goes, oh yeah, she does that. Like, bro, you don't want to tell us that?
Yeah, right.
She will jump on top. We had to get a bread box. We had to buy a bread box because she will jump on top of the fridge and bring the bread down and bite into the plastic to eat the middle of the bread. And we're like, what kind of trash cat are you? Like,
Oh my God,
where are
exactly.
you from? She gets along with the boys, so that's good. But I'm like, Jesus.
Oh my God, of course. Yeah. It's like, all right, cool. I'm glad you have the instincts to survive, but you do live
Mhm.
in a home now where you get regularly
Oh my
fed. Like,
God.
it's
We tell her
okay.
all the time, like, you're not from the garbage anymore. It's okay. You can live the way you need to.
Exactly.
Ugh.
I love that.
She's so good though.
Of course.
What's
Yeah.
funny is it's really hard. You've probably had this. I mean, a lot of practitioners say this. It's really hard to give yourself readings,
Yes. Yeah.
but giving it to everybody else, it's so good. So I trust like very few like YouTubers to do
Hmm.
it. One is Star Girl, the Practical Witch.
Mm.
So I follow her a lot. She's really, really good, very accurate. And she was like, God, I think it was back in March or something. I don't really remember. But she's like, you're gonna have another animal come into your house. I'm like, I already got two.
Yeah.
I
Right.
would love another one. My
Of
roommate's like,
course.
no, we can't have another one. And she's like, you're gonna be like super attached to them and they're gonna help you with your spirituality. It's gonna be really great. And I'm like, all right, cool. I'm gonna keep that in the back.
Yeah.
And now I've got Miss Grunty over here, and I'm like, oh, I love you. So
Exactly.
nice.
That's good.
I think she loves my altar the most, but
Oh, cool.
but it's her jumping on it that I'm like, oh, please,
Oh God,
please
of
no.
course. Yes, exactly. It's like
My other ones will do it too, or I'll see them get ready to do it, and I'm like, I have an air can,
yeah.
and so I just spray it up, and they're like, oh God, and they leave, and I'm like, good,
Good,
you know.
exactly. It's like, thank you for being involved in my practice, and also
Mhm.
leave my altar alone, please.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's my sacred space. Yeah. So how long ago did you start working with Loki and Aphrodite?
Oh God, I think it's going on a month now.
Oh, cool. Okay.
Yeah, it's just going on a month. I've had um worship sessions with them, so like I've worshiped
Mm.
them instead of like actually practicing with them, so
Mm.
that's been for a while, especially Aphrodite. I've
Yes,
worshiped her for some time until I was just like comfortable with working with her.
of course. Yeah.
And given that there's sorry, I have to go like this so she
Of
can come back on
course.
my lap. Given that there's levels to like practicing with like certain aspects of Aphrodite, because I know a lot of people are very accustomed and knowledgeable of just Aphrodite being the love goddess.
Yes.
There's also the dark feminine part. There's the
Mm-hmm.
war part. There's just like so much to her
Mm-hmm.
that I'm like, okay, I just want to be this confident badass.
Yes.
Like I can't be you. No one can be you. But I would like to try to get like maybe like 1/10 of an inch close.
Of course.
And then she was just like you don't need help, but like yeah, I'll help you with that,
Yeah.
because she knows that a lot of my like trauma, that's what she's helping me with the most, is my family trauma.
Oh, good. Yeah.
Because especially when it comes to like, given that I'm Mexican and Salvadoran and like the oldest female, I've been put into this, I have to be perfect, I have to be everything.
Oh, right.
But I also cannot talk back, I cannot speak, and I cannot have opinions.
Oh
So
God.
just
Yeah.
the face of having everything together, but then the background of being very silent, like
Yes.
seen and not spoken.
Yes, exactly.
So she's like, all right, let's focus on that part first, because you've got a lot of inner child like wounds. And that's
Yes.
honestly what they're both focusing on right now,
That's great.
of that
Yeah.
inner child aspect of like, okay, well, you talked a lot when you were a kid, and then you were told to be quiet.
Oh,
And now
yeah.
let's get out of that.
Right.
Like if you want to talk, there's nothing wrong with it. And if someone doesn't agree with you, well, that's fine, because you know, we all have different opinions, but that doesn't mean you're any less wrong than that person.
Yes.
So it's just going and unlearning a whole bunch of stuff, and I'm just like, oh my God, every time I'm like meditating with
Of
them.
course. Of course, that's a lot of work. And again, I don't think it's a surprise that you and I were just on such friendly terms immediately, because that's also how I grew up. Because the only child, the only grandchild, all this focus on me, but no real interest in me, just in how I could perform for them, right? Like they would listen. I wasn't necessarily told to shut up. I was just kind of ignored, at least emotionally ignored, you know, like people weren't interested in my thoughts or my feelings about anything. It was just like, oh, cool, Vanessa did this thing, and let's just talk about this thing that she did. And so I thought I had to perform and I had to do certain things in order to achieve, like have love, you know, and have support in some way. That is so much work to have to unlearn. And again, like using your voice, that's part of like starting this podcast, because I was not listened to at all. And so I just got quiet and I started observing and paying attention. And this is, again, my ritual practice is very kind of chaotic magic, like action based. It's like, all right, cool, we're setting a new path, right? I'm talking to people and we're having conversations and we're doing things, putting myself out there, even though the panic is real.
Oh my God, yeah. I think that's part of the reason why I like I stopped streaming for a long time is because I set up an expectation for myself that was at the level of people who have been doing this for years.
Yes.
And
right.
who were already experts at it. Because from a young age, it was like, well, you're not doing it like them, so you're doing something wrong.
Mhm.
I'm like, but I just started.
Yes, exactly.
Like if I started just learning my alphabets and you're trying to tell me to do like geometry, hell no.
Yeah, right.
There are so many things in between that I don't know, and you're expecting me to jump from A to Z. I can't.
Exactly.
So it's a lot again of like unlearning of like, you need steps, you need
Yes.
time. You're not perfect and you're never going to be perfect at it. But guess what? That's okay.
Yes.
That's fine. Like saying that, I was just like, oh, I hate it. I hate
know.
that I'm not perfect at it. Because it's like, oh, what I want to be.
Anyway, yeah, you were talking about streaming and perfectionism. And
Mhm.
yeah, I also have, because again, you're very smart and you're good at things. And it's hard when you're smart at you're good in things, and then you can pick up things right away. And anything
Mhm.
that you can't pick up right away, it's it's a source of real anxiety because of that perfectionism, right? That,
Mhm.
oh, I've defined myself and my ability to be an expert at something immediately. And there are literally things that you cannot be an expert in immediately because that's not
Mhm.
how they work, right? Especially with
Mhm.
streaming or TikTok or anything. You have to put the time in, streaming especially, like on Twitch. You have to put in the time, you have to build up an audience, you have to slowly acquire better and better gear. You know, it's not
Yeah.
just out of the gate and everything is perfect. And that expectation, again, causes all this anxiety. I don't think I ever shared it with you, but there was an article I read probably 5 years ago at this point, and it started out with why, I think the title was something like "Why English Majors Are Procrastinators," and right, and then
That's a little too real.
I figured you'd appreciate it, and so I just started reading it, and then it totally zagged to this conversation of people who are kids who are gifted and praised for being good at things right away, as opposed to being praised for putting work into things, and how that causes this anxiety complex, essentially, because you're praised for and defined by being good at things right away, as opposed to putting work into something to learn a thing. And that can be this really toxic feedback loop and can hold you back from doing things because you're not perfect right away. You're worried people are going to judge you. And you're like, oh, I don't know, should I do this? So that's, like I said, that's part of my chaos magic practice. It's like, no, we're doing it. Whatever, it's fine. Put it out there. I'll learn as I go. But that is very anti-me, like how I was raised.
Oh God, it's so hard because like I've always been a procrastinator, where it's just like my favorite stories are whenever professors are like, you can't do this all in one night. I'm like, you don't know me.
Exactly.
Yes, I can.
I can and I will.
And I've done it. I've done an 8-page paper all in like the night before.
Yep, same.
I think it was like 5 hours before. I threw everything out and they're like, this is such a great paper. Like, when did you do this? You should have, you started this like months in advance. I'm like, truthfully, I did it yesterday.
Exactly.
And I'm like, I'm so tired and I'm high up on caffeine right now. Like, that's, and they've gotten like so upset. I'm like, I really don't care. So I've got my grade and I'm out. Okay, that's fine.
They get so upset when they know that you're gaming the system, and that you don't operate according to their system, their plans, right? Because that was my entire college experience. I would either do the papers the night before or sometimes the morning of. I would go to bed really early, and then I'd wake up in the morning really early, like 4 in the morning, 3 in the morning sometimes. Just turn on German industrial music and just start typing.
Yep. I've learned to play like Mario Kart music in the background.
Oh, That's
I'm
so
like, I
good.
gotta go. I've gotta hurry up.
Exactly. I can't lose.
It's gotta come in first. And like, I'm just, here you go. Like there were no staples there for some reason. And the 5-6 computer rooms that we have, no one had staples. There you are. They're like, oh yeah, no, that's fine. Take a paper clip and just paper clip it. Have fun.
Exactly. Perfect.
I think one time I got a B and I was just like, I don't give a shit. It's fine. I
give
did it.
Exactly.
It's done.
It's done. I'm gonna pass. I don't care. Exactly.
I think my sister is the same way.
Yeah.
What's really funny is like, my roommate will say to like, oh, she's gonna burn out. And I'm like, oh no, 100% definitely.
Yeah.
Because my sister will refuse to do homework or will just like write her name and then send it in. And they're like, you have to do the work. And she's like, I really don't feel like it. Like, I know what's going on. And like, mind you, she's 12. And she's in 7th grade. And I'm like, all right, so what are your tests? And they come back A's and B's. And I'm like, it's not like you're not getting it. You're obviously getting it.
Yeah.
But the only reason her grades are going down is because she doesn't do the homework. And I'm like,
of course.
That kind of sucks.
Of course.
Because 90% of her grade is the homework. And like the last 10% is the test.
Oh my God.
And given that I was an education major, like I understand how that balances out. But I can also understand that like sometimes there are individuals who just don't want to do the homework because they can comprehend what the material is. And unfortunately, our schools are very much based in memorization rather than comprehension. So that's why there's this like influx of homework all the time from every single subject. And she's just like, I know what to do, so I'm not going to do it. Like, this makes no sense that I have to continuously do it.
Of course.
I was sat with her and I'm like, do you just not like school? And she's like, no, I like it. It's just, I don't like homework, so I don't do it. And I'm like, fair.
Very fair. Yes.
Fair. So, do me a favor. And she's like, I'm not doing the homework. I'm like, well, then you're not going to pass. And then this is just going to be like a really back and forth thing.
Oh my gosh.
If you want to get out. And I'm like, summer is coming up, you know?
Yeah.
Not that the country's opening up again, but summer's coming up.
Exactly.
I feel like I don't want it to open up again.
I don't either. I know.
There's so much bad out there.
It's really, it's just terrible. And I keep, again, I'm on Twitter all the time, just all the time. And, follow a bunch of, pro-labor, like anti-retail work accounts. And it's just people constantly sharing their stories. And it's absolutely terrifying out there.
Oh my God, the ones on TikTok are wild.
Yeah.
Because they'll be in the store talking shit. I'm like, oh God, I love it. It's so good.
I love it. Yes.
I'm like right in the heart of it.
Exactly. That's powerful magic right there. Just like, no, I resist this. I call this out while I'm here, while I'm in front of the building. Yeah. Yeah.
She stopped grunting because I started petting her.
Oh, of course.
She's over here in a little loaf getting pet.
Aw.
She's such an attention whore. I love it, but that's also me, so it's okay. So like I understand.
It's like when you have some Leo in you, you just can't help it. Right?
Oh my God. It's like the worst part. Like I want attention, please. Like I can't get it. I'm gonna cry until I get men. And then you're all gonna see they're like, dang, we should have given him attention right at the beginning. We would have had this. Like exactly. So whose fault is it? It's yours.
Exactly. They asked, like we should have done it. I know in a previous episode I was talking with Adler about like having like Leo and Scorpio placements and the like struggle between those two, because like Leo rising, I'm like, yes, everybody pay attention to me, and Scorpio moon is like, don't ever talk to me ever about anything, I'm just gonna go
God, that's so funny because that's literally my friend group.
Yeah.
So God damn it. So I know a lot of people, here's my thing. A lot of people are like, don't ever share like your placements because they're gonna curse you. And I'm like, do you not have protection or wards up that like you're
Okay, thank you. Yes.
so scared of getting like cursed that easily for knowing that like
yes,
my Cancer is in Mars? Like, I don't give a shit.
Right. Thank
Like,
you.
like I could, okay, so we're both chaos. We're both chaos magic. Like,
yeah.
dude, I could give me this. I could take this Sharpie marker and do so much with it.
Yes, exactly.
Okay, so
yes.
please do not try it. Do not.
Exactly.
Even before I worked with Loki, like my ancestors were not on that.
Yes.
Right? Like my family is very much like, you do not come after any one of us, no matter what we've done. So like,
love it. Yeah.
I don't have a problem with ever sharing that.
Yeah.
Like,
right.
Birth time, maybe a little bit, but like I could tell you my rising sign. Like I don't care.
Yeah. Right.
It's like, I'm not worried about people like, and first of all, what are you gonna do? Attack my feelings? Like I don't do that already. Like my brain doesn't do that already.
Exactly. It's like you can't do worse to me than I do to me. Like
exactly. I'm like, okay, I'm a Leo sun, I'm a Cancer rising, and a Libra moon. You think I don't have emotions?
Oh my
that don't flip on itself? Okay, like my retail therapy. Who's the one in the most pain? Me. But it's okay.
Exactly.
Like I do the most hurt to myself. I doubt anything you could do is gonna like really hurt me.
Oh my God. Oh, thank you. That's such a good point. It's something I think about all the time. It's like, okay, first of all, your birth chart, it's like most people post photos of themselves online all the time too. Like if they really wanted to like take something, again, everybody's information is out there. But secondly, like just do some protection work. Like that, if you have any kind of magical practice, it should just be like a daily meditation and a daily like sense of award you're putting up, because like that's a good muscle to build up so that like you are protected on your journey through life. Like, I don't know. And also anticipating that somebody is more powerful than you and coming after you is going to put you in a headspace, I think, where you are inviting and will create in your own life toxic energies and malefic energies. Whereas if you just kind of walk through life like, no, I am protected, I am guarded, I am protecting myself, I am guarded, as opposed to just worried. Like, again, it's so funny. I have so much anxiety about so many things. Not that at all.
When it comes to my practice, I'm like, no, I'm good.
Yeah,
I'm good. Like I'll do so much like protection, or just like whenever someone like says something like super like either misogynistic, sexist, or racist to me in like the stores, I'll be like, okay.
Yeah, right.
Just, I mean, like, are you sure you want to go there? Like
exactly.
I'm not gonna do it. And I'm like, I know who I am. I know I'm protected. I just really hope that you are ready for what you're gonna get.
Absolutely. Yes.
My spiritual team don't play.
Exactly.
So have fun with that.
Exactly.
Oh my God.
I know. I mean, maybe that's it. Cause it's like, again, I have so many, Kali is everywhere, right? Like everywhere. There are images of her everywhere. And because she protects and because she destroys, maybe that's also why I'm like, yeah, sure, whatever. Have fun with that.
Yeah.
Have fun reaping what you sow right now.
Exactly. It's just like, I mean, like the deities, I felt like Loki started, when he started, because he was just like, mistletoe, all right, bet, bet I can't do that. All right, let's watch, let's see. Okay. Aphrodite started a whole war because she's like, no, I'm the prettiest. Let's go. Okay.
Exactly.
I'm like, we are not above anything, okay? You want to go low, I'll go lower, dude. Like, you really cannot. Don't try it. So, like, okay.
Exactly.
But like mainly with my roommate, he's just like, are you gonna go do your, like, you're gonna light a candle or something? And I'm like meditate or like what? And he's like, no, like your witchcraft stuff, because like someone was mean to me. And I was just like, all right, tell me who it was, let's go.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
And he'll tell me about them, and I'm like, all right, I got you, man, don't worry about it.
Exactly.
He'll come back later, he's like, oh my god, thank you so much, they apologized to me. It's funny because he's a Scorpio sun, Cancer rising, so there's 2 Cancer risings in this house, so it's funny as hell.
Lord. Yeah.
And then I think he's got a Sagittarius moon.
Okay.
I don't really remember.
Yeah.
But I was just like, ooh, that's that double water. Have fun.
Oh,
there's
right?
a lot going on there.
Brutal. Yeah.
But then we made another friend, and I don't know her other stuff. I don't know her rising or her moon yet. But she's an Aquarius sun. And we all just like get along, and I was like, yeah, we would all get along.
Of course. Yes.
This makes sense.
Exactly. Exactly.
She was just looking at herself.
Yeah. I mean, well, that's the thing, because Aquarius, again, we're like defined by being aloof, but it's not that we're aloof. We just mostly hate feelings, but we have all of them. Just the intellectual, it's the water bearer, right? We carry the water. We resent it because it's on our back. And we'd rather just operate in the realm of ideas, but it's there, right? So again, around water signs, I'm like, oh yeah, tell me all your feelings. Let's have a conversation.
It's just like, oh my god, that is so cool. You're able to express your feelings.
Exactly. Yes.
That's wild.
What's that like? Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. Have you like done any tarot stuff recently, or other types of divination? Yes.
They're always right there.
I love it.
She's the most talkative, which is really funny, because when I ended up talking to her, she was just like, hey, got a lot of anxiety. I say a lot of things, so you might just want one answer. I'm gonna give you everything. And I'm like, holy shit, did I pick myself out? Like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah, right.
So I actually got her in it's called Just Witchies. It's on the south side of Chicago. Really nice. I would recommend, if anyone wants to go there, go ahead, because they have it's a small store. So if you have like anxiety with being around a bunch of people like I do, don't go on the weekend. Don't go on the weekend, because I made that mistake one time, and I was like, no. It's the weekend, we have time. I went, and I was just like, oh my god, this person can touch me. I can hear this conversation happening right there. Oh, I heard someone upstairs. I'm like, I hate it. I never knew how much I like valued my own space until like,
of course,
going out in society again. So I usually go on like Tuesdays and Wednesdays.
Perfect.
Because it's like quiet.
Yeah.
And it's right before like 3 to 5 insane traffic on the highway, because everyone's like going home and whatnot.
Right. Yeah.
But it's really cute. You have both elder witches that are practicing there, of every race, of every gender, of every identity. There is someone who, like, they have Santa Muerte statues. They have a whole bunch of like different Pantheon statues. They have like, if you're looking at, I'm sorry, there's a Loki statue that's there, and it's just like, oh man, I kind of want to get that. He's like, yeah, you should have gotten it. I'm like, that was like $200.
Oh my god, right?
Super expensive. He's just like, yeah, but I think it's kind of cool. So like I do have to go back there and eventually get them.
Of course.
But they sell rings, they sell beautiful, beautiful necklaces. Funny enough, again, my roommate does not practice but loves incense.
Funny.
I'm just like,
Yes.
okay,
Mm-hmm.
so do you open your window with that? He goes, no, because your window's open. I'm like, I mean, you're right, but like I gotta like travel through the house to get to my door and then get out
Yeah.
the window. He's like, yeah, but like you have incense in your room too. And I'm like, yeah, that's double the power. Like I understand, but like you could just open your window.
Oh, you're right.
He's like, no, but
exactly.
I like the smell of it. I'm like, okay. So it's like double the smoke cleanse.
Of course.
So whenever so his will be there and mine will be at like the other end of the apartment. So I'm like, hey, if you know you're not supposed to be here, I'm so sorry. You're gonna get thrashed around in that room before coming over to this room and be like, oh God, a window, getting out of here.
Exactly.
Like, I'm so sorry for that. But yeah, no, I bought her, over there, and I started using her, and she loves to talk a lot of like, oh my God, I'm so happy you got me, and all of this other stuff. And I'm like, she's sweet. I've got like 11 tarot decks, I think.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm very much like, if you really think you're gonna hide something from me, you're not. You're not.
Exactly.
So like I'll talk to my friends. I'm like, hey, what's going on? Nothing. I was just curious. Say less.
Yeah.
So and like I'll look for the one. I'm like, all right, I need the one who's gonna give me the most like accuracy, which is normally my Rider-Waite tarot.
Mm-hmm.
She holds nothing back. She's very much like, or you want the truth, here is the truth, which I appreciate. A lot of people don't.
I know,
because truth is very hurtful. And I'm like, but I love it because like if I'm being stupid, she's just like, stop being stupid. I'm like, okay.
Fine.
That's fine.
Yeah, exactly.
It's just like, it's like 8 of Swords, 9 of Swords. What are you doing? I'm not doing any, like, are you not doing anything really? Because to me it seems like you're doing all this. I'm like, okay, shh, you're yelling at me right now.
I know.
This
Stop
is not
yelling.
what I need.
Yeah.
But I've been doing a lot of like tarot. For some reason, a lot of it is like love readings, and I'm like,
interesting.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's which I've been seeing a lot. And I'm like, yeah. But let's get into career. How about that? Let's get into some career stuff. And they're like, yeah, that's gonna go great. So about this love situation, I'm like, who is going out? Because it's not me.
Thank you. Exactly. Yes.
Like I'm not leaving my house. I am not on like the Tinders or the Bumbles. I'm not doing any of that. Like,
of course.
What is going on? And they're like, maybe you should. I'm like, maybe I'm going to stay in my hole. And they're like, and as soon as I say, I'm like, I'm okay with my little hermit stuff. Every time they're like, well, we're gonna give you a tower moment. I'm like, please don't do that.
Yeah, please. I've had enough.
Because that hurts me the most. Because I know you guys love me and you're forcing me to do this. But that scares me.
Of course. Oh my God. We've had this conversation before when we worked together. Just like, it's like, that's a hard thing about the cards too, is that like, I mean, my favorite thing, but also the thing that annoys me the most is when you ask a question and it answers a different question. Cause it's like, you don't need to worry about this. You don't need to focus on this right now. This is the thing that you need to know right now that you have been burying and trying not to talk about and not to think about. Guess what? We know it's here, and here it is in your cards too.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's why I'm like, man, I kind of want my career. And they're like, but this love situation coming in. I'm like, but I want career.
Career, please. Thank you.
Please. Essentially, I know why they're bringing up the love stuff. That's part of the reason why I got into working with Loki and Aphrodite. So when Loki first came to me, they came to me as a male figure, as normally portrayed. But now when I sat down and then wrote a contract out with them, and I was like, hey, I've got male trauma from like a whole bunch of different things.
Yes.
So like, I'm so sorry if I can never look you in the eye. Immediately Loki was like, all right, well, now I'm a woman. And so I was just like, that was really nice of you.
Of course, yes.
So it's a lot of, I know that is one of the reasons why, given my trauma with my ex.
Yes.
That is a whole other story in of itself. So it's healing a lot of both familial and relationship trauma regarding men.
Yes.
And so that is one of the biggest things. And with that comes trust.
Yes, right.
And that's why they're like, we're gonna try to give you another like love situation to see like if you've learned from the past and if you can like not to say that it's gonna go wrong, but if it does, what you're gonna do with it.
Right. Yes.
If you're gonna leave, if you're gonna stay and like try to fix it. Or are you going to stay, try to fix it and like devalue yourself again, or value yourself? Like, we need to see what's going on. And I'm like, I understand that. Maybe not do that. Maybe, maybe don't me.
Yeah, exactly.
We need to see like what's going on. And I'm like, okay, that's fine.
Right,
that's great.
fine.
It's so cool.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. It feels great.
Because I could sit here and say, yeah, I'm good with it. I'm great. And they're like,
course.
oh, are you? Here you go. And I'm like, no, please no. I lied. Whoa, look at that. I lied. So it's a lot of that, which I've seen a whole bunch of people that are like, yeah, I'm in relationships right now and it's really nice during Venus retrograde. And I'm like, hey, get it. That's like the nicest time to see like if what's really true is true.
That's exactly it. Yeah.
A lot of people I've seen like fear mongers, like, don't get into relationships because it's gonna break and it's gonna blah blah blah. And I'm like, half these people who live out here who are not practitioners get into relationships during like Mercury retrograde and end up married and have a really happy life.
Yes.
It's all about what you do in that relationship rather than basing it 100% on the planets. Not that the planets don't have like an influence on our bodies and on our chart and everything, but sometimes like if you live in this sort of like rose-colored glasses ignorance, but you're aware of what's going on in your relationship, you can make it work. So there's no reason to fear monger people of like, don't do anything during like Venus retrograde because then it's gonna explode. I'm like, actually, this is like the best time to do it because you see people for who they are.
Yes, right.
So
I love that so much. That's my feeling about retrogrades in general. It's that like, because especially Mercury retrograde always seems to be a good time for me. So I love it because it's been my experience that if something shouldn't be happening or isn't supposed to happen, it falls apart. There's no question. It is a catastrophic failure. And if something is supposed to work out, everything falls into place. Like it just all lines up. And so this like retrogrades to me are this incredible, I mean, again, it's a chaotic time, right? It's this like the chaotic power of, okay, if you're in tune with yourself, and like you said, if you're communicating, if you're paying attention to your partner, this is the best time because you can really get to the root of something and establish something meaningful, right? Yeah.
I think retrogrades mostly because they like you said, that it falls into place. My thing is just I've always grown up with like having the truth be told to me, and that is literally what retrogrades are about. It's just like, all right, you're gonna see the truth get thrown in your face, and if you don't like it, hey, change it. Simple as that. Because who did it? You did it. It's just like,
there's that.
Damn, it's really, it's just tough love. It's just stuff like Saturn. Saturn is very like fatherly figure, tough love. It's just like, hey, I do love you, but you're being stupid, so don't be stupid and go fix that. It's like, okay, like I'll do that.
Right.
Damn. It's like, I'm not disappointed in you. It's just like, you're fucking stupid. Like, I know. Damn. Okay. Like, I'll go fix it. Shit.
Yeah, shit.
Then I come back, it's like, look, it's better now. Yeah, do you feel better? Yes. I should have done this before, but like, fuck. Okay, I was in my feelings. Let me feel them.
Exactly. Right. All my other planets are in water. Like, just gotta chill out. Like, I'm gonna have
my God. Yes, they all are.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. I like feel so bad for feel so bad for my son being around all water and then one air and one in my 6. So it's Cancer rising, Leo sun, Libra moon, Virgo Mercury, Cancer Mars, Cancer Venus.
Lord. Oh, you poor thing. Jesus
Christ. Like, do I want to yell or do I want to cry? I'll do both.
Oh my God.
But I get my revenge, so that's fine. I
mean, I know my Venus and my Mars are both in Pisces. And so it's just like, right? Exactly. I'm like so thankful for all the Sagittarius and like the Scorpio moon, because that's the only thing that gets me like mad. I mean, I get like mad when I get mad, but the Pisces is just like, all right, I'll just like languish here and mope. That's just my face.
Like, okay, how about we cry for a little bit? And then that little spark of like anger is gonna come in, and that's gonna drive you. It's just like, okay, I finished crying. Now I'm mad. Now I'm mad. Cried.
I know. Once that little spark lights, you're like, just fan it to get it going, because like this can fuel me for years.
Like, I'm gonna hold it right here. This is my little cup.
Tend it.
Wait till it gets ready.
Exactly.
Oh my God. I think that's what fueled all of us at our job. It was just like, okay, I've cried too much over this. Cried too much. I'm going to leave.
Exactly. Yes. It's not worth it. It's not worth it. Especially when you realize like, oh, I'm replaceable. They don't care. So bye-bye. I'm going.
Especially, did you see the CDC has now lowered quarantine time?
Yes.
And like, oh, if you're actually needed at work, just disregard it. I'm sorry, what?
Excuse me? Exactly. Yes. Yeah. That's cool. Just everybody's in the service of capitalism. That's more important than public health. Great. That feels great. I know. I'm like, cool. Can't go anywhere anymore.
Nope. I got the booster shot too.
Oh yeah, good.
I'm very stubborn, but because I got the booster shot and they're like, you need your flu shot. I'm like, here, put it in.
Yeah.
And they're like, and we have to give you this tetanus up, thing.
Right.
And I was like, all right, just add it on. And they're like, are you sure? That's a lot of shots for you. You're gonna be sick. And I'm like, yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
And then I went home. I had a headache. I woke up the next day. I felt like absolute death.
Of course.
And I was like, oh my God, why did I give myself all these shots? I could have just come back another day. And I'm like, I don't want to travel to the hospital again. That's fine. And
I don't blame you, but
I just had all of those, and I'm just like, all right, I'm dying. I'm gonna just continue to sleep. Woke up the next day, and I was like, hell yeah, I'm immune. I can fight things.
Yeah, exactly.
I can fight this virus.
You are protected.
And then I was just like, I'm still gonna stay home because I don't want to go outside, but I can fight the virus.
Exactly. It's good to have that layer of protection when you like absolutely have to go out into the world. But if you don't absolutely have to go out into the world, it's nice to just stay home and not worry about it.
Oh my God, especially when it was Christmas, like people were wild. I was just like, I needed to go to Target to get like groceries. Never in my life there have been many times where I was just like, do I really need to eat? I don't think so. And I went in with like my rings, I went in with my charms, and I was just like, oh my God, I hate being in here. It's so gross.
Yes, right.
And then I left, and I was just like, I can breathe outside in this air because that was so much.
Of course, yes. Well, because it's just like everybody's anxious energy too in the store, and like from the holiday, from the pandemic, and just having to navigate all of that, aside from your own fears about like, I don't want to get sick from people who aren't masked up or taking appropriate
Right.
precautions. Yeah.
Mm-mm. Hi. Hi, Mochi.
That is a perfect cat.
You wanna go? You can go. She does her own thing. It's funny because she's the youngest.
Oh, okay.
So I have Butters, who is 6 years old. Toast is 5, and she's 4.
Oh, okay, baby.
But she's like the most aggressive one. So
Oh,
whenever the boys fight, and normally because Toast is big and fat,
yeah.
but Butters is very skinny, so they'll both fight with each other because they're bonded brothers.
Yes.
Toast is normally the one that gets like thrown on the floor,
Yeah.
and Butters will be over him, or they'll bite each other, and one screams out. Wherever she is, she'll just like get up, run. She'll jump off and come up like, "What are you doing?" And they'll stop and they'll go away. And I'm like, you are so small. How does a 15-pound cat and a 6-year-old cat get scared of you?
Seriously.
Like, I don't understand, but they do. And apparently she used to do that with like dogs too, and they're big dogs, and I'm like, Jesus.
Tiny but fierce. I love it.
Yeah. It's so good though.
Well, yeah, like she's just super chill, but like when you got to lay the law down, she's just like, no, this isn't happening in my house. Stop.
Like, we're not doing this.
Yeah, exactly.
This is my house now.
Right.
You guys have lived here in this family for 2 years more than me. Don't care. My house.
Doesn't matter. Exactly. My house.
She's so good though. We got a heat blanket because it gets kind of cold.
Yeah.
Obviously in the basement. So when we turn it on, all the cats are like, "Oh, warm? Nice." And they'll lay on it. And I'm like,
of course.
You know, I put that on for me because I'm cold.
Right.
But I guess you guys are fine. You go ahead. Y'all have it then.
Yeah, exactly.
She's so good though.
That's good.
How are your tarot cards? I know I gave you the botanical garden one.
Exactly. Yes. I've been using them a lot more now because that and the mushroom one, because my life is just plants basically. So it's fun, like, because I have like my little altar set up, and then it's just surrounded by plants, and so I'll just sit there and like work with the tarot and work more with plants. It's pretty awesome. Like, this is not something, nice. I did not grow up like caring about plants. Like, my grandmother had a garden, but she wasn't the type of person to actually like teach me how to do anything. But it's just, I think there's something very beautiful about tending to things and taking care of things and like getting into that kind of ritual space. Because like I decided recently that I wanted to start carving wands, my own wands.
Oh, nice.
Yes. And so, 2 weeks ago, there were those crazy storms in Chicago, and I said like a little intention. I did a little spell, and I was like, okay, I want to find like good branches for making wands, right? I don't want to waste any wood, but there's this wood on the ground. Let me use that. And I ended up hauling home like 15 pounds of wood, like a couple branches that are longer than I am tall, and like carried them a mile home because I was like, well, I asked for this, the plants provided.
Hell yeah.
So I have to respect them. So just in the corner of my apartment, it's just branches.
Oh my God, I love it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so it's good. It's interesting to watch, like, as you probably know, like when your practice changes over time, and like little things that you do in your life end up impacting your practice, and you don't think about it at the time. It's just a new thing that you're exploring and enjoying. And then all of a sudden, like, oh, I guess I'm kind of a plant witch now. Okay, cool. Yeah.
Mine started the way most people do. I shouldn't say a lot, most people do. Yeah. Which is very much like love and light, and what you throw out will come back to you, and all that. I'm very much like, no. No, I don't. I know a lot of people do, but I don't believe in like the threefold law, where it's just like it'll come back to you 3 times. I'm like, no, no, it just won't.
Yeah.
That's just not me.
Yeah.
Just like
right.
of love and light. I'm like, I would love to be that. There's nothing in my body that will let me love and light. No, it's just like
Same.
I'm going to get my revenge, like I will do it, or someone on my spiritual team will do it. And you know what? You're gonna want me, because if they do it, that's gonna be like generational shit right there. I very much just please take what I am going to throw at you, okay?
Exactly. Exactly. Like this will hurt, but that will really hurt. So you really don't want them coming after you. Yeah.
You really don't. I've also I went to the cemetery with my dad or with my father to go and see my family, which was really, really nice because I hadn't seen them in a long time.
Oh yeah.
And a lot of my stuff happens in my dreams, and then I'll remember it. Which is another thing that corresponds with the love readings. Because I don't like it. Yeah. Because I've told you this before. I felt someone lie down next to me. Like I felt like saw their whole silhouette, and I saw their whole being just lie down next to me. It was just like, oh, comfy. And then I was like, oh no, there's someone in my bed. And I really got scared. I was ready to I reeled back. I was like, there is no one here. Okay. That has been happening a lot more. Oh wow. And I'm like, okay. But it's not because I know it's not bad. Yes. My team knows it's not bad. Yes. Because if it was, they'd be like, you need more protection. You need more stuff here. Totally. Yes. So I mean, Aphrodite is usually the one that's very much like, hey, your protection, go do it. It's like, okay. Yeah. So I've had like dreams of my ex, and she's like, no, you got to protect yourself, let's go. I was like, all right. Those ended immediately. Amazing. Yes. But now it's more of whomever this person is, and I'm like, ma'am, and she's like, don't worry about it, it's fine. I'm like, ma'am, but ma'am, like I know. And she's like, just you're gonna be so happy about it, it's gonna be fine, it's just so funny. Yeah. And then Loki is like, I'm not helping you, I can't, I'm not gonna do it. I'm like, oh, God. I'm like, would you tell me what it is? They're like, no, because that's gonna ruin the surprise. And I'm like, I am suffering right now. Either I get a good night's sleep and I don't wake up until like 1, or I don't get a good night's sleep and I wake up like from 7 to 8. Oh no. Or any other, like I wake up at 1:23. Of course. Or at 4:44 or at 5:55. And I'll look, I'm like, what time? God damn you. I'll turn over. I'm like, can I just sleep, please? That's all I want. Yes. Right. But yeah, that's a lot of my stuff has shifted to very much like chaotic magic. Yes. Cool. Or like glamour stuff. Yes. And just setting things with intent and just going out. Yeah. Because most of it's because I'm lazy. Yeah. I'm like, you're my protection right now. Yeah. I'll put it on, and I'm like, it works because it works. It works, exactly. And then I'll leave, and then I'll come back. It's like, all right, we're cleansed, we're good, and yeah, I'm gonna go play games now. And they're like, I mean, yeah, yeah, sure. And no one can really say anything because, like, I think that's my favorite about witchcraft, because everyone's practice is so uniquely them. Yes, right. And it's I mean, obviously there are like certain rules, like there are certain close practices you do not touch because that's not yours. Yes. Right. And there are certain things you obviously have to follow, like protecting yourself, cleansing, banishing, warding. Obviously to help you. Yes. And the way you do those things is up to you. Yes, so right. Go ahead. Yes. And funny enough, I think that's why a lot of like neurodivergent, in particular, English majors or English people
Yeah.
into witchcraft, because it's very much that like I have evidence of all of this here, and this interpretation might be different from yours, but technically they're both right because of like the evidence that I have for it.
Mhm.
And that's what I do with mine. It's like, oh, that person does that this way. Well, I do it this way. That's pretty cool because both of ours work,
Right.
but for that individual person.
Mhm.
So there's this thing that I just really, really love about it, because you're not wrong, I'm not wrong.
That's it.
We're just here.
That's it, right? We're just both working the systems that work for us and getting
Mhm.
results, and you know, getting more connected to whatever we are connecting to out there. Is there anything that you want to like promote before I let you release you onto your snowy day?
Oh, I know it's snowing outside, which is so nice because then I can go collect snow and all of this.
Exactly.
I've been doing that too. I've been collecting rainwater. I've been collecting like thunderstorm water, and I've been collecting like my roommate's like, it's snowing. I was like, yes, hold on. I gotta go get more jars.
Get the mason jars. There's snow.
Yeah, which is so funny because we'll go to Michael's and he's like, hey, look, jars are on sale. I go, well, where? I'll grab them.
Of course.
And he'll find stuff. He'll be like, hey, I found this this thing. Do you want it? Yes. Thank you very much.
Exactly.
Or like, this candle is cool. Do you want it? Yeah, I want that. Thank you. Doesn't know what I do with it. He's just like, don't you have that candle? I'm like, oh my God, bro. Yes, I do. I'll go and I'll grab it. So
that's so
it's
good.
very much my chaos stuff.
I love it. Yeah.
But yeah, I'll be streaming again soon.
Cool.
I was mainly doing like Dead by Daylight, which is like a horror survival game.
Yeah.
I am going to be doing like a lo-fi kind of like chill thing where if you want to like do homework, go ahead, do homework. If you want to be like me and read Lord of the Rings and just sit back and chill, because that's what I'm going to be doing.
I love it. Yeah.
But yeah, everything, literally everything, because I had to change it all.
Of course.
Of like socials like Twitter, Insta, TikTok, and also Twitch. Yeah, that's all my socials. Cool. It's at _starwitch, and that's literally how anyone can reach me.
I love it. Perfect. And I'll put all those links in the description too, so people can find you and follow you and see all the cool things that you're doing. So
we'll do all that.
Exactly.
Thank you so much for listening and or watching, depending on where you are enjoying this episode. You can find me at Personal Pans on Instagram and Twitter. That's just Personal Pans. I personally am at Kali Butterfly. That's Kali Butterfly. You can also follow Star on all social media at _starwitch. Like I said, they're awesome and they're gonna start streaming again soon. So I highly recommend following them and enjoying everything that they put out into the world. So thank you again so much for listening and or watching, and I hope that you have a playful and curious day.